I want you to close your eyes for a second. Picture the year 2005. No smartphones, no TikTok. We are in Streetsboro, Ohio, and we are zooming in on a van. It's probably, I don't know, a Ford Econoline. The suspension is completely shot, and the inside smells like a lethal combination of stale fast food, unwashed clothes, and teenage boys.
The glamorous scent of the American dream.
Exactly. Inside this rolling biohazard is a group of 15 and 16-year-olds. They look exhausted. They probably haven't showered in 3 days, but they have this frantic electric energy about them. They aren't a high school debate team on a field trip.
No.
They are a heavy metal band called Forever in Terror.
And we aren't talking about a jamming in the garage after homework situation here.
What?
These kids are.
Yeah.
They're outliers. At an age where most people are worrying about getting a learner's permit or who they're taking to homecoming, these guys are on the verge of signing a deal with Metal Blade Records.
Which is massive. I mean, for anyone who knows metal, that's the summit.
It's not just massive, it's the holy grail of heavy metal. Metal Blade is the label that built the infrastructure for the genre. We're talking about the home of Cannibal Corpse, the Black Dahlia Murder, As I Lay Dying.
Legends, all of them.
For a group of teenagers from Ohio to land on that roster, it's statistical insanity.
And right at the front of this chaos, clutching the microphone like it's the only thing tethering him to the earth, is our protagonist, a 16-year-old named Tim Felger.
Right.
The archives describe him as having a terrifyingly powerful and harsh scream. He's touring 48 states before he's even old enough to vote. He is living a life of absolute sensory overload.
He's getting a PhD in performance before he gets his high school diploma.
But, and there is always a but, on this show, the script flips. The band stabilizes, they're about to record their debut album, and then Tim Felger disappears. He exits the liner notes.
He's going.
He vanishes from the stage.
And for a long time, that energy just goes dormant. It's just out there in the ether.
Until it doesn't. Because years later, that same terrifying intensity resurfaces, but the venue has changed completely. The microphone is still there, but the guitar amps are gone. The mosh pit is gone.
Yeah.
They've been replaced by a wrestling ring, a canvas mat, and a bull rope. Tim Felger, the teenage metal screamer, transforms into August Artois.
The self-proclaimed international draw. And, critically, the longest reigning full-impact pro world heavyweight champion in modern history.
That is the mystery we are unpacking today.
Yeah.
How does that happen? How do you go from the van in Ohio to the main event in Florida? It's such a huge leap.
It's a study in reinvention. We aren't just doing a biography today. We're looking at the mechanics of how skills transfer from one performance art to another.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the brutal economics of the independent wrestling ecosystem.
Which are brutal.
No, they're soul-crushing. How you survive without a corporate safety net.
And we're going to talk about a philosophy of pure, unapologetic hedonism. Because August Artois isn't a hero. He's something much more interesting. We have mountains of material to get through. Metal Blade archives, deep-cut interviews from the Confusion Wrestling podcast, data from Cage Match and WWN Live, and of course the Control Your Narrative Project spotlights.
We're going from the breakdown to the body slam. Let's get into it.
So let's start with the before, the metalcore prodigy, because I think people have a stereotype of what a teenage metal band sounds like. Lots of noise, not much structure.
Right. 3 chords and a lot of angst. Just pure, unrefined rage.
But when you dig into the archives of Forever in Terror, or Seventh Plague, as they were originally called, that's not what you find. I was listening to the tracks from their 2005 demo, and frankly, I was shocked.
It's surprisingly technical, isn't it?
It's incredibly technical. The musical analysis describes a blend of modern-day metal, black metal, and thrash. But there was one specific reference in their bio that stopped me cold.
Let me guess. The Swedish influence.
The blazing Yngwie Malmsteen Viking metal guitar harmonies.
Okay, we need to pause on that. For the listeners who aren't music theory nerds, Yngwie Malmsteen is not just a guitar player. He is the king of neoclassical shred. We're talking about sweep picking, classical scales played at blistering speeds, absolute precision.
It's the kind of stuff you practice for 8 hours a day in a locked room. It's not something you just noodle around with.
Exactly. So for a band of 15-year-olds to cite that as a core influence and to actually pull off those harmonies tells us something crucial about Tim Felger and his crew.
Yeah, it says they're serious.
They weren't just angry kids screaming into a void. They were disciplined. They were technicians. The sources mention a thrashing double kick drum that could switch tempos on a dime. That requires a level of synchronization that most adult bands struggle with. It's almost like a hive mind.
And the ambition, I have to talk about the track forever in terror from that demo. I looked at the runtime, and I thought it was a typo. I really did.
It wasn't a typo.
It's over 17 minutes long. A 17-minute progressive metal epic written by high school sophomores. Who does that?
People who are absolutely fearless. Think about the audacity of that. Most bands at that age are trying to write a 3-minute catchy hook so they can get on the radio or, get a girlfriend.
Right. Get played at the school dance, maybe.
These guys wrote a symphony of aggression. They were building a cathedral of noise. That specific track is what caught the eye of Neil Sheehan at HM Management. It wasn't just the talent, it was the scope of the vision. They weren't thinking about a single, they were thinking about an album, an experience.
And that vision led to the deal. They sign with Metal Blade, they are roster mates with their heroes. This should be the happy ending, right? But this leads us to the part of the story that I think is the real origin story for August Artois. It's not the music, it's the lifestyle, the hustle.
And a callous phase.
I like that, the callous phase. Felger toured 48 states before turning 18. I want to unpack what that actually does to a person's brain, especially at that age.
It rewires you completely. Yeah. Imagine the reality of that van. You are waking up in a different parking lot every day. You are surviving on gas station burritos and whatever you can get from the catering backstage, if there even is catering.
Which there probably isn't.
Probably not. You have zero privacy. But the most important part happens at night. You walk into a venue, maybe it's a club, maybe it's a dive bar, and there are 50, maybe 100 people there. They don't know you. They don't care about you.
No.
They're there to drink or see the headliner.
You are the obstacle between them and the band they actually like. You are an annoyance.
Exactly. You are the nuisance. And you, as the vocalist, have to walk out there and within 30 seconds, grab them by the throat, metaphorically, and force them to pay attention. You have to project an energy that is so savage, as the reviews described his vocals, that they can't look away.
That's crowd control. That's pure, uncut ring psychology.
It is the fundamental atom of professional wrestling. Whether you are holding a microphone to scream lyrics or to cut a promo, the psychological mechanic is identical. You are manipulating the energy of a room.
Right.
You are taking a group of strangers and forcing them to feel something. Tim Felger was learning how to be a heel, a villain, an antagonist, years before he ever learned how to take a bump.
He was learning that if you don't command the space, you
disappear. You become background noise.
Exactly. You're just the opening act that everyone's talking over at the bar.
And he learned that the performance doesn't stop when the song ends. In that van, dealing with promoters who might try to stiff you on pay, dealing with broken equipment, you learn that the industry is predatory. You build a shell. You learn not to trust people.
Which explains his exit, maybe. Around 2006, just as the band is getting ready for the big debut album Restless in the Tides, Felger leaves. He's replaced by Chris Bianchi. It's a clean break. Why walk away when you're on the brink of success? It seems counterintuitive.
Burnout is the likely culprit, though the sources are quiet on the specific why. But think about the pressure cooker. You've done 48 states, you've lived a decade of life in 2 years. Sometimes the fire burns so hot it consumes the fuel.
That makes sense. You hit the peak of that experience and you've nothing left to give to it.
You sting away. You needed to recharge.
But the fire didn't go out. It just needed a new chimney.
Nice metaphor.
Try. So he disappears. There's a gap. A few years where Tim Felger is just a person, maybe working a regular job, maybe sleeping in a real bed. But clearly something was missing. Because he decides to enter a new world, he heads to Florida.
The mecca of modern independent wrestling. It's where you go.
Specifically, he enrolls in the World Wrestling Network, or WWN, training center in Trinity and Newport Richey. Yeah. Now, for the uninitiated, is this just a gym with a ring in the back? What are we talking about here?
No, this is an institution. Context is key here. The WWN isn't just a local indie federation putting on shows at the VFW Hall. It acts as a governing body for promotions like Full Impact Pro Fip Shine and Evolve.
And Evolve was huge.
Evolve, specifically, was the primary pipeline to WWE for a long time. If you made it there, if you were the champion there, you were on the radar of the big leagues. It was a direct pass.
So he's going to Harvard, essentially. Yeah. The Harvard of indie wrestling.
He's going to a trade school for violence. The facility is partnered with Iron Banner Fitness. It's focused on creating a total foundation. They aren't just teaching you how to fall down without breaking your neck. They are teaching you nutrition, conditioning, promo skills, psychology, everything.
And the dean of the school, the man who molded August Artois, was Francisco Ciatso.
A name that demands respect. We have to note, sadly, that Francisco Ciatso passed away in January 2024. But his fingerprint is all over Artois. Every move, every promo.
Absolutely.
Ciatso had a fascinating lineage himself. He was trained by two people who seemed like polar opposites. Total oil and water.
Exotic Adrian Street and Bill DeMott.
All right, let's break that down. Exotic Adrian Street was a British wrestler, famous in the 70s and 80s. He was a glam rock character, wore makeup, pigtails, very gender-bending for the time. He'd come to the ring with his valet, Miss Linda, and just antagonize people.
A provocateur.
A master provocateur. But he was a legitimate shooter, a tough guy from a Welsh coal mining family. His style was all about psychology. He would frustrate you, humiliate you, manipulate the crowd's homophobia and bias to create nuclear heat. He didn't need to do a flip. He just needed to look at you the wrong way.
So he's the art, the performance, and then there's Bill DeMott.
Bill DeMott ran the WCW power plant and later the WWE developmental system. He is a drill sergeant. His reputation is built on grueling physical conditioning, doing squats until you puke, running ropes until your back bleeds. It's about durability and grit. It's the pure, punishing athletic side of the business.
So Ciatso absorbed both, the mind games of Street and the physical torture of DeMott, the art and the science.
And he passed that hybrid style to Artois. You see it in Artois' work. He's durable. He can go 30 minutes in a punishing match. But he's also deeply psychological. He isn't just doing moves. He's playing a character. He's telling a story.
There's a specific concept Ciatso taught that I found fascinating. The view from ringside.
Yes. This is the Blinkist takeaway for our listeners. This is the core of it all. Most young wrestlers, especially today, are obsessed with what we call the spots, the moves, the athletics.
The highlight reel.
The highlight reel. Look how high I can jump. Look how fast I can spin. It's basically gymnastics with some grunting.
It's impressive, but is it wrestling?
Ciatso would argue no. The view from ringside means teaching the student to stop thinking about their own body and start thinking about the ticket buyer in the third row. What does he see? What does she understand?
Right.
If you do a triple backflip but your face looks bored, the fan doesn't care. But if you put a guy in a simple headlock and scream in his face and look like you're trying to pop his head off like a cork, the fan believes it. They feel it.
It's empathy in a weird way. Empathy for the audience's wallet. You want to give them their money's worth.
It's business. It shifts the focus from, am I having fun? Or am I getting my stuff in? To, is this making money? And that is a huge mental leap that a lot of wrestlers never make.
And August Artois is obsessed with the money part. When he talks about the business in these interviews, he doesn't sound like a fan. He sounds like a mercenary.
100%.
He calls the wrestling industry poisonous and cutthroat.
He's not wrong.
He says, and I'm quoting here, you will see people with 2, 3, or 4 sides of their face.
That is the voice of experience. Remember, he survived the music industry first. He knows what it's like to be a commodity, to be chewed up and spit out.
Yeah.
He explicitly states in the Control Your Narrative spotlight that he is not a dreamer. He didn't get into this to be a superhero for kids.
No.
He says the keys to making money are talking and having a great body. Full stop.
It's so cynical.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of undeniably true in that industry.
It's brutally efficient. He recognized that in the modern era, you can be the best technical wrestler in the world, but if you have the charisma of a wet mop, you'll stay in the opening match. But if you look like a Greek god and you can talk people into the building, you're the main event. He prioritized the assets that yield the highest return on investment.
And the cost of entry, it's not cheap. The WWN school was about $1,600 tuition, which is actually more accessible than some other places like the Wild Samoan Center. But it's still a significant investment for a young performer.
It is, and that's just the tuition. That doesn't cover rent in Florida, food, gear, travel to shows to try and get booked. The investment is huge, which is why his business-first mindset probably took root so early. He wasn't there to make friends, he was there to make a living.
So let's talk about the asset he built, the persona. August Artois. First off, we have to clear up a little confusion in the data.
The Aguilar-Artois issue.
Right. There's a wrestler named J.D. McDonough who is currently in WWE who used the name Aguilar-Artois on the UK indie scene for a bit.
Pure coincidence, but important to clarify. August Artois is a unique American creation. This is Tim Felger's intellectual property.
Okay.
A completely separate entity.
And the core of this property seems to be hedonism. He calls himself the perfect heel.
Which is a bold claim, a very bold claim.
He says, quote, I'm all about me and my happiness.
See, that is why it works. A lot of wrestling villains are cartoonish. I want to destroy America. Or I am evil for the sake of evil. That's hard to relate to. It's too big.
Right, it's like a comic book character.
But I want to do whatever I want, and I don't care if it hurts you. Everyone knows that guy. Everyone has a boss like that, or an ex like that, or a relative like that. It triggers a very primal, very real dislike.
It's the control your narrative influence, too, isn't it? The CYN movement started by EC3. That philosophy seems baked into his DNA.
We have to touch on CYN. It's a polarizing movement in wrestling. It positions itself as anti-establishment and anti-smark.
Smark, ELI 5, please. For the people in the back.
Smart mark. It refers to the internet fans who think they know the insider business. They critique the booking, they rate matches with stars, they analyze the backstage politics, they follow the gossip.
Okay.
CYN is basically saying, we don't care what Reddit thinks, we don't care what the dirt sheets say, we're going to tell our stories our way. It's about taking creative control back from the online chatter.
So it's a rejection of the modern feedback loop. It's an insular movement.
Precisely. And for a character like Artois, who is all about his happiness, it fits perfectly. He isn't wrestling for the approval of the internet, he's wrestling for his own paycheck and his own amusement. His character doesn't care if you give his match 5 stars. He only cares if his bank deposit clears.
And he brands himself as the international draw. But unlike a lot of guys who just put international on their business card because they wrestled in Canada once, he has the receipts. He backs it up.
This is the hustle again. This is the touring musician mindset. He leverages the digital age. He produces these travel vlogs, Pattaya party time, in Thailand, for example. He films himself living this globe-trotting, lavish lifestyle.
He's creating the narrative. He's not just saying it. He's showing you.
He's providing the evidence. And the stunts. We have to talk about the skydiving promo.
I love this. It's so over the top.
Most wrestlers cut a promo standing in front of a curtain or in locker room. August Artois cut a promo while jumping out of a plane at 10,000 feet.
It's genius branding. First, it's a visual spectacle. You stop scrolling when you see a guy falling through the sky talking trash. It's a pattern interrupt.
Of course. Second, it implies wealth. Skydiving isn't cheap. It reinforces the hedonist character. He's out there having the time of his life while his opponent is probably sweating in a gym somewhere, grinding it out. It's a psychological jab.
It also utilizes the Insta360 camera. He's giving you a first-person perspective. He's making you a part of his adrenaline rush.
Control your narrative. Quite literally. He's controlling the camera angle. He's showing you the world through his eyes. And the international work is real. He won the heavyweight title in Target Wrestling in the UK. He's a regular for Island Pro Wrestling in PEI Canada, where he plays this mentor-antagonist role to younger talent.
And Thailand.
And Thailand with Pro Wrestling Southeast. He is putting in the miles just like he did in the van in 2005. The scale is just bigger now. It's planes instead of a beat-up Ford Econoline.
But all the marketing in the world doesn't matter if the bell rings and you stink.
True. The facade crumbles quickly if you can't back it up.
So what is the August Artois style? He calls it real and raw. What does that mean in practice?
Which is a direct rebuttal to the current indie style. If you go to a typical indie show today, you will see a lot of what we call high spots. Flips, dives, super kicks, intricate choreographed sequences that look like a dance.
The video game style. It looks like a Mortal Kombat combo sometimes.
Exactly. Artois rejects that. He refuses to do it. His style is ground-based. It's heavy on strikes, headlocks, and grappling. The sources point to an MMA influence, sprawl and brawl. It's more about dominating a position and doing damage than it is about flying through the air.
It sounds ugly in a good way. Like it feels more like a fight.
It's supposed to be ugly. A fight isn't pretty. By keeping it grounded, he makes it look like a struggle. He wants the audience to feel the weight of the bodies. It emphasizes the physical toll. And again, it's selfish wrestling.
What do you mean by that?
If I'm holding you in a headlock for 2 minutes, I am controlling the pace. I am resting while you suffer. I'm catching my breath while the crowd boos me. It fits the hedonist character perfectly. He's not there to exhaust himself for their entertainment. He's there to win as efficiently as possible.
This philosophy, the branding, the style, the training, it all culminated in one major achievement. The FIP World Heavyweight Championship.
The big one. The centerpiece of his kingdom.
Now, FIP Full Impact Pro. I feel like we need to establish the pedigree here. This isn't a cardboard belt from a promotion that runs once a year in a high school gym.
FIP is hallowed ground. It was founded in 2004. For a long time, it was the sister promotion to Ring of Honor, which was the epicenter of a revolution in work rate. If you look at the list of former champions, it reads like a Hall of Fame ballot.
List them off. It's staggering.
Homicide, Bryan Danielson, maybe the best wrestler of the 21st century, Roderick Strong, Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins back when he was Tyler Black, Austin Theory.
These are guys who have main evented WrestleMania. These are household names in the wrestling world.
Exactly. Holding the FIP title is a stamp of approval. It says, this guy can go. It says he can carry a brand. It has a lineage of credibility that you can't just invent.
And August Artois won that title on December 10th, 2023, at an event called Battle for the Belts. But it was the match type that really stood out to me, a bull rope match versus Brian Brock.
I love that they went with the bull rope match. It's a perfect choice for his character.
Why? It feels so archaic. Cowboys and dust. It's not what you think of in 2023.
That's the point. A bull rope match is the antithesis of the modern flippy style. You take a thick, heavy rope with a cowbell in the center. You tie one end to Artois' wrist, the other to Brock's wrist.
So you're tethered. There's no escape.
You are inseparable. You cannot run away. You cannot do a majestic dive to the outside because the rope will yank you back. It forces the match to be a gritty, close-quarters brawl. It's tug-of-war with fists. It requires immense psychology because you can't rely on flashiness. You have to sell the struggle of the rope itself.
It sounds exhausting. Just physically draining.
It is brutal. The rope burns your skin. The cowbell breaks bones. Winning that match established Artois not just as a champion, but as a tough guy. It legitimized the real and raw slogan. He didn't win with a fancy 450 splash. He won by bludgeoning a man with a cowbell while tied to him.
And he hasn't let go of the belt since. As of right now, early 2026, he has held that title for over 800 days.
That is a staggering number in the modern era.
It sounds long, but put it in context for me. How does that compare to other reigns?
The previous record for a single reign in FIP was John Davis at 632 days. And Davis is a monster, a respected veteran. Artois has completely shattered that. In the TikTok era, where attention spans are measured in seconds, wrestling promoters usually panic. They switch titles constantly to create moments or viral clips.
Hot-shotting the title, they call it.
Right. To keep a belt on one guy for 2+ years. That requires a tremendous amount of trust from the promotion.
It means he's still drawing money. It means he's a reliable anchor.
It means he is the final boss. He has become the anchor of the entire WWN ecosystem. He appears at their super shows involving FIP, Shine, ACW. He's defended it in multi-man chaos matches like the Ecstasy of Gold match where every title in the company was on the line. He's defended it in winner-takes-all matches against guys like Lucky Ali, unifying regional titles. He's cleaned out the division.
So we've looked at the journey, the van, the training, the brand, the belt. I want to zoom out now. What does the existence of August Artois tell us about the state of wrestling in 2026?
It tells us that the business of heat has evolved, and that identity trumps acrobatics.
How so?
Artois represents a shift away from the work rate era. For a decade, indie wrestling was all about who could do the coolest moves, who could get the 5-star match rating from the critics. Artois saying, no, it's about who has the clearest identity. He has this quote where he criticizes veterans who've been working for 5 or 6 years but still don't know who the hell they are.
Ouch.
It's a harsh critique, but he has a point.
Ugh.
He claims he achieved in 19 months what took others 10 years because he controlled his narrative from day one.
He treated himself like a product, a brand to be built and marketed.
He treated himself like a business. He didn't wait for a promoter to tell him who he was. He decided, I'm an international superstar, and then he went out and filmed the evidence to prove it. He manifested it.
It also speaks to the ecosystem, right? The indie scene is struggling. Inflation, travel costs. It's hard to make a living.
It's nearly impossible. The starving artist trope is real. Wrestlers are independent contractors. No health insurance, no retirement plan. You get hurt, you don't get paid.
A brutal reality.
And Artois represents the modern solution. Diversification. You can't just be a wrestler. You have to be a content creator. You have to be a merchandiser. You have to be a travel agent booking your own international tours. You are a small business.
He didn't wait for WWE or AEW to call. He didn't sit by the phone.
That's the key. The old dream was get good on the indies so I can get signed. The new dream, which Artois embodies, is build my own kingdom so I don't need to get signed. He has effectively beaten the game of independent wrestling. He's a world champion, he travels the world, he makes money, and he answers to no one but himself.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the symbolism, the plague.
It's poetic, isn't it? It feels like it was written.
It really does. His first band was called Seventh Plague. It has all these biblical end-of-days connotations, and now his wrestling character is essentially a toxin in the system.
He calls the business poisonous.
And he becomes the poison. He injects this selfishness, this hedonism into the locker room. He is the heel who tells you that your dreams are stupid and that money is the only thing that matters. He is the personification of the industry's dark side.
And he does it with a smile on his face, which makes it even more infuriating to watch.
Yeah.
He's not a brooding, dark character. He's a guy who is genuinely enjoying being the bad guy.
And yet, we watch him.
We can't look away. Just like in the van in 2005. He's still the screaming teenager demanding your attention. He's just learned how to modulate the volume. The scream is now a confident lecture. The thrashing around on stage is now a methodical, ground-based attack in the ring. It's the same energy, just refined and focused.
So Francisco Ciatso's legacy is secure. His teachings live on.
Absolutely. They named a tournament after him, the Young Guns Invitational. But Artois is the real legacy. Every time Artois steps through the ropes, Ciatso is there. The psychology, the toughness, the view from ringside. Artois is the living proof that the old-school methods still work in the digital age. You just have to package them correctly.
We've covered a lot. From Yngwie Malmsteen harmonies to bull rope blisters, a truly bizarre and fascinating career path. But I want to leave the listener with one final thought to chew on.
Go for it.
August Artois is a heel. He's a bad guy. He tells us he's selfish. He tells us he's only in it for the money. He tells us the business is fake and poisonous and that everyone in it has 2, 3, or 4 faces.
He pulls back the curtain. He exposes the ugly truth.
But in a world where everyone else is pretending to be a superhero or pretending to be a tough guy who loves the fans, is the man who openly admits he's a greedy hedonist actually the most honest person in the room?
That is the paradox of pro wrestling, isn't it? Sometimes the mask is the only thing that's real. Is his real and raw persona the ultimate fabrication, or is it the one true thing in a world of make-believe?
Control your narrative, indeed. August Artois certainly has.
And he's got the gold to prove it.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Don't forget to check your own narrative before you log off. We'll see you in the next one.
Stay curious.